Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Eddie Jennings from EJSLLC.com. This video is another in my practice session series for the Red Hat Certified Specialist in Linux Diagnostics and Troubleshooting exam EX342. Before I dive in, I want to thank returning subscribers for watching another video, as well as invite anyone who's watching, if you haven't subscribed, to click the subscribe button. A reminder that these are my practice sessions for the exam. My exam's about a week, actually exactly one week away from today, and I'm going through all of the posted objectives from Red Hat and I'm trying to either explain the concept behind the objectives or do some examples of the objectives, and really just doing this as a final review, get some of the information back in my head if it's something I haven't touched in a little while. And so at the end of the video, I'll do a little self-assessment and hopefully I'll feel confident with the objective. And if not, I still have a week to maybe do some last minute brushing up of a couple of things. Obviously at this point in the process, I'm not really going to be learning anything new, but the idea is to try to get it back into the front side of my head. So that being said, these should not be used as tutorials, nor should they be considered authoritative information, since I myself am still learning. I try to have the information accurate because hopefully at this point I have not learned something wrong, but understand that I am still learning, and these should not be considered official tutorials or any type of authoritative information. I put these out on the internet in hopes of those that are also studying for the exam might see some of the stuff that I do as a part of my practice and become inspired to create examples of your own, or maybe you see me work with something that you've also worked on but in a little different way, and give you an idea of other ways of handling problems. So we're looking at the last objective within the troubleshoot and fix network connectivity issues section, and that's inspect network traffic to aid in troubleshooting. So there's a couple of things to look at here. One is the almighty tcpdump, and this is one of my favorite tools, but unfortunately it's one that I use just infrequently enough that I cannot remember, or I don't have like common syntax memorized with it. As a matter of fact, on my browser at work, I have a bookmark to basically a TCP cheat sheet, which is an article that was published by Red Hat, and I think is in the Enable Sysadmin series. That's just common queries and such for tcpdump, and when I need to use it, I will reference that. One day I might practice tcpdump enough to have a lot of things memorized. There are a couple of things that I keep in my head, but it's such a great tool. There's so many things you can do with it. So what is tcpdump? First, make sure it's installed. Should be. If not, you can DNF what provides and get it installed. But what tcpdump is a packet capture tool, and based off of the options and such that you give it, it will capture any of the traffic that is going on your interface. So let me go into one of my lab servers, because I will want to filter some tcpdump stuff with this. So we'll become root. So some of the great documentation for tcpdump is within man tcpdump, and also I think it's pcap filter. Pcap filter is going to give you a lot of the syntax for trying to filter tcpdump, and this is what I mean. If I were to just, let's see, nmcli con show. All right, so if I were to do tcpdump, I think -i is interface. Yeah, -i is interface. So if I were to turn on run tcpdump and I do this on enp1s0, this thing is going to just not work because I misspelled tcpdump. Well, let's try this again. p1s0, it's just going to fly, because I have an SSH connection to here. And so all of those SSH packets are going to be, 78 packets, or actually 78 things were dropped by the kernel. And then you see over 200,000 packets received, because it's showing me all the traffic. It's showing all the SSH traffic. So we obviously want to do a little bit of filtering when we're using tcpdump. What I can do, let's see. I know there's host. You can tell a particular host that you want to listen for traffic on. And that's what we're going to do. We'll do this. So this cat etc hosts. So now what I'm going to do, tcp dump the interface, and I'm going to tell it host 10.0.50.11. So now we see no traffic here, but if I were to go make another window of this, make this one smaller. So if I were to SSH into lab server 2, and we already see some traffic that has come there, and I start pinging lab. I was a little confused. Yeah, there was an ARP request that came out, and of course that ARP is a broadcast, so that's why it showed up on lab server 1. So if I were to ping lab server 1, we should see some TCP dump traffic happening, and we see that. Now let's try to generate some other traffic. So we had the ARP request. There was some HTTP traffic. Now, I don't particularly like the view of seeing HTTP. So I'm pretty sure -n is what I want for this. And what -n, I think you have to do 2 n's. And that's going to show stuff in a numeric fashion. Pretty sure, yeah. So so 1 n is don't resolve host address names, 2 is don't do the protocol. So we're going to get this same TCP dump going here, and we'll do -nn. Of course, there's no interface named nn. All right, and let's try to curl again. And let's see if we actually see any traffic. We probably won't, because this is dropping traffic. I can't remember if TCP dump will show you the traffic before it is. Nope, there it is, right there. Because obviously the firewall is going to be dropping that traffic. Speaking of, I was thinking, it just occurred to me in my practice session for network connectivity, I guess you could you can turn on a trace mode with firewall D and see what rules and such are being affected to troubleshoot firewall rules. Just came to my head. Now you can do, let's take a look at TCP dump. This expression piece here, and there are some examples within the man pages. You can do all sorts of expressions. And if we do pcap filter, this will give you several of the statements needed for making expressions for TCP dump. This will probably be a tool that I play with a little bit over the next week, just to kind of refamiliarize myself, maybe look at my little cheat sheet and see some of the common things that I've used in the past. But the other big thing with TCP dump is you can output your capture to a file, and you can do that. I believe it's the W command. So what I'm going to do is just run TCP dump, and I'm going to do this interface, and then W, and we're just going to do output. You don't have to do .pcap, but it's kind of a standard thing that we usually do here. So it's already generating traffic because of SSH, but we'll ping lab server 1, and we have our output .pcap. You can read this with TCP dump. It's kind of a pain, in my opinion, to read on the command line. So often what you will do is use a tool like Wireshark, which should be available in the Red Hat repos. We're about to find out. And you can have the graphical method of seeing PCAP. So let's do DNF search Wireshark. I'll have to use sudo, but I want it to complain to me. There's also a Wireshark CLI, so you can basically run Wireshark from the command line. But I tend to use just TCP dump for that. So let's install this. It's a fairly large package, so it might take it a minute. What? Oh, I have to tell it to actually install. Maybe that'll work a little bit better. There's another tool that might see if we can try. I can't remember. It's like trace ng or something like that. It's like a text-based interface that can kind of give you what you get out of TCP dump. Might try that. All right, so what I need to do, all right, and I'm going to SCP that to my machine. Just run Wireshark. Let's take a look at the PCAP file. Not sure if we'd probably do this on the exam. Maybe it's maybe there will be we need to capture a certain type of traffic of which use tcpdump and output to a file. Let's see, open. There's our output. Actually, kind of surprised we didn't get, well, yeah, I was thinking we might have got more SSH traffic, but we see the ICMP output. And something that can be useful with this is, especially when you're troubleshooting TLS and those types of connections, you can see the handshake. And I have used that many times to solve like certificate mismatch issues, and not like certificates themselves being mismatched, but some of the encryption algorithms. Is that what I'm thinking of? You can see what the server is presenting as, hey, I accept these particular encryption algorithms, and then the client can't match any of those, and the TCP or the TLS handshake fails. And you can also see the TCP three-way handshake as well for stuff. But that's Wireshark for you. Let's see if I can remember the name of that other tool, because it's a text-based interface thing on the lab server 1. Let's do a DNF search. I think it had trace in the name of it. Let's see if there's, yeah, it's trace route. Maybe it didn't. What else could it have been called? Oh, actually, now that that's there, MTR. This is one I've heard a lot about. It's not one I use often. Let's install MTR. Like, why not? Pretty sure MTR can give you all sorts of other diagnostic stuff as well. And I think you can, I don't know if there's a server component of it, but it's like you can set it up on two ends and get like throughput and bandwidth testing and all that. Kind of ashamed that I don't know more about this tool other than it exists and I know people that use it. Oh, it's already installed. I probably should have searched for that. All right, so it has an interface kind of like that. Let's do MTR lab server 2. See what happens. Okay, so it shows us it's doing pings, gives us our percent loss here. Okay, he's not doing anything. Let's see, display mode. Oh, that gives us something different there. Order of fields. Huh, this is a tool I might play around with this weekend. I'm stuck. How do I get out? All right, Q is usually something you can do. Nope, can't do that. Control C is not working. Am I stuck? Pressing up seemed to get us out of that. All right, Q, get out. There we go. All right. So, yay, MTR. That's something I need to look into. I wish I could remember. All right, let's do another DNF search for net. Net's probably going to have a ton of stuff. It's one of these, I think when I see the package name, I'm going to remember it. Let me clear my screen and do this again, because it's going to be a long list. Maybe I'll search network first. Let's see. Of course, that's going to get a bunch of the network manager stuff. This isn't a network manager thing. Oh, where are you? That's it. It's iptraf-ng. That's the name of that tool. All right, let me copy that. I knew I would recognize it when I saw it. Let's do RPM QA grep I. Okay, so it's, oops, dash I. Okay, so it's not already installed. So let's install this and poke around with it for a minute. If install -y iptraf-ng. This was a tool that I've learned about just with my initial studies for this exam. All right, iptraf-ng. And this, if I remember right, you can get, it's not just a traffic filtering and traffic sniffing thing. You can get information about your actual interfaces, such as, you know, how many total packets are happening here. And of course, it's going to be a lot because I'm over an SSH connection. You can set up, let's see, traffic monitor. Yeah, we don't want to do that yet. You can set up filters. And we'll set up an IP filter. We'll define a new filter. We'll just call it test filter. And we are going to press A, add to the list the source. I'm not going to put in. I guess, yeah, we could do the source. So let's say it's 10.0.50.13. I know that's one of my lab servers. And actually, I'm not going to do a wildcard mask. Don't really care that much about that. Let's show anything from 22 to 80. And the protocols that we want to match will be, let's do TCP. I think that looks good. I don't like that /0. Can I edit this? Yeah. Because we're looking for just this one particular host, so that would be a /32 mask. All right, so source is that. Destination, we don't care. All right, that looks good. Press escape to do that. Let's apply the filter. Filter is applied. Well, that's working. So 13 is lab server 3. So let's go into lab server 3. All right, we applied our filter. Exit this menu. Notice it says IP filter active now. Exit this menu. Go into IP traffic monitor. We'll just look at our one interface here. All right, so let us SSH lab server 1 and see if anything came up. And of course it didn't. Grumble. I wonder why that is. This is a tool I really haven't used much. I might try to work with it some. IP filter is active. You know? Oh, it's wildcard mask. No, that's like the opposite of stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Let's add all IP. Maybe add ICMP. We're including these. We're not doing match the opposite. All right, so that should, I would imagine, capture what we want. Exit the menu. The filter is active. I'm expecting it to be showing a bunch of traffic there. So let's see if we can do a curl lab server 1, which of course is going to fail, but maybe that'll show something. Nope. All right, so this tool, obviously I don't know what I'm really doing with this tool. I might spend some time with it. Otherwise, I mean, in the real world, so to speak, I'm going to be using tcpdump if I'm wanting to do a packet capture. I guess you could use iptraf if you're just wanting to get network statistics, but I don't know. I might spend a little time with it, try to become more familiar, but I think tcpdump is probably going to suit what I think I'll need to do on the exam. Now, I may be wrong. This exam might be completely based on iptraf, and if that's the case, I'm probably sunk, but I think I'll probably be okay with inspecting traffic with tcpdump and Wireshark and the like. So if you found the video useful, make sure you do click like. I want to thank returning subscribers for watching another video, as well as invite anyone who's watching, if you haven't subscribed, to click the subscribe button and ring the bell when you do, so you know when new content is available. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you the next time.